There's something you need to hear before you walk through that door you've been standing in front of for months now. You know the one I'm talking about. The door that leads away from everything you've known, everything you've been, everything that once felt like home but now feels like a costume that's 3 sizes too small. You've been circling it, testing the handle, putting your ear against the wood, wondering what's waiting on the other side. And today, right now, before you finally turn that handle and step through, there's something crucial you need to understand about what happens next. See, most people think endings are about loss. They think closing one chapter means something dies, something gets taken away, something precious gets buried forever. But what if I told you that the ending you're afraid of isn't actually an ending at all? What if it's the most honest beginning you've ever been offered? Because here's what no one tells you about transformation. The person you're saying goodbye to was never meant to be permanent. They were a draft, a rough sketch, a placeholder holding space for who you're becoming. Right now, you're probably feeling this strange mix of excitement and terror. Part of you is ready to sprint toward whatever's next, while another part is gripping the doorframe, begging to stay in the familiar chaos. You've outgrown that tension you're feeling. That's not confusion. That's clarity, trying to break through years of conditioning that taught you to fear your own evolution. You see, we're raised to believe that consistency equals stability, that changing means you're flaky or unreliable or somehow broken. But what if consistency was something that no longer serves you, is actually the most unstable thing you could do? Think about it. How long have you been carrying around pieces of yourself that feel heavy now? The opinions you adopted because they made you fit in, the dreams you chase because they looked good on paper, the relationships you maintained because ending them felt harder than enduring them. All those pieces, they served you once. They got you through seasons when you needed them, when you couldn't imagine being anyone else. But seasons change, and so do you. And trying to drag summer clothes into winter doesn't make you loyal. It makes you cold. The truth is, your old life isn't ending because you're giving up on it. It's ending because you've finally grown large enough to see beyond its borders. You've expanded the edges of who you thought you had to be. And now the walls that once protected you are starting to feel like prison bars. This isn't failure. This isn't weakness. This is what happens when your inner world finally catches up with your authentic capacity. But here's where it gets interesting. The version of you that's about to be left behind, they're not going quietly. They're probably throwing quite the farewell party in your head right now, reminding you of all the times they kept you safe, all the moments they helped you survive, all reasons you should stay exactly where you are. They're pulling out every memory that proves you need them, every fear that suggests you're making a mistake, every doubt that whispers you're not ready for what comes next. And you know what they're not wrong about? Some of it. That version of you did keep you safe. They did help you survive. They were exactly who you needed to be when you needed to be them. But survival and thriving are two completely different frequencies, and you can't access one while you're still tuned into the other. There comes a moment in every evolution where safety becomes the very thing that's keeping you small, where the strategies that once saved you start slowly suffocating the person you're meant to become. This is that moment for you, standing here on the edge of everything you've known, feeling the pull of something you can't quite name yet, but somehow recognize at a cellular. It's like your soul is speaking a language your mind hasn't learned yet, but your body understands perfectly. That restlessness you've been feeling, that quiet dissatisfaction with things that should make you happy, that growing need for something more real, more aligned, more true, that's not discontent. That's direction. Your old life isn't disappearing to punish you for outgrowing it. It's dissolving to reveal what was always waiting underneath, like ice melting to reveal the river that was always flowing beneath it. The river was always there. You just couldn't see it while everything was frozen in place. And now, as the ice starts to crack and shift and finally break apart, you're getting your first glimpse of the current that's been carrying you all along. But this process, this melting, this breaking apart of what once felt solid, it's messy. It's uncomfortable. It doesn't look like the transformation movies you've watched, where everything shifts overnight, and suddenly the protagonist is living their best life. Real transformation is slower, quieter, more uncertain than that. It's a series of small deaths and smaller rebirths, each one bringing you closer to who you've always been, underneath all the layers you thought you needed to survive. Right now, you're standing in that sacred space between who you were and who you're back, and that space, it's not empty. It's pregnant with possibility. It's charged with potential. It's alive with everything you've been too afraid to want and too small to imagine. This isn't the end of your story. This is the moment your story finally begins to tell itself honestly. So, what does it mean to step through that door? What does it actually look like to leave behind the person you've been for so long? It's not dramatic like you might expect. There's no orchestral soundtrack playing in the background, no moment where everything suddenly makes perfect sense. Instead, it's quiet, almost anticlimactic. You simply stop arguing with the voice that's been whispering your name for months, maybe years. You stop negotiating with the part of you that knows exactly what needs to happen next. The first thing you'll notice is how different your breathing feels. Like you've been holding your breath for so long, you forgot what it meant to actually your lungs. There's this strange lightness that comes not from adding something to your life, but from finally putting down what was never really yours, to carry the expectations that felt like concrete blocks, the versions of success that tasted like cardboard in your mouth, the relationships that required you to edit yourself down, to fit into spaces that were never designed for your actual size. And then comes the silence. Not the empty kind that feels lonely, but the full kind that feels like coming home. Your thoughts stop racing because they're no longer trying to solve a puzzle that was never meant to be solved. They're no longer working overtime to make sense of a life that stopped fitting you somewhere along the way. In that silence, you start to hear things you've been too busy to notice. Your actual preferences, your real opinions, the sound of your own voice when it's not performing for an audience that was never really listening anyway. But here's what might surprise you about this transition. It's not that everything becomes easy. It's that everything becomes honest. The struggle doesn't disappear, but it changes quality completely. Instead of fighting against yourself, you start moving with yourself. Instead of pushing against doors that were never meant to open for you, you find yourself naturally gravitating toward the ones that swing wide at your approach. It's like you've been trying to swim upstream your entire life, and you finally turned around and realized the current is always trying to carry you somewhere better. The people around you will start to notice something different, though they might not be able to name it. At first, you'll stop apologizing for taking up space. You'll stop explaining your decisions to people who are never going to understand them anyway. You'll stop asking for permission to want what you want and be who you are. And that shift, that quiet confidence that comes from finally being in alignment with yourself, it changes everything about how you move through the world. Some people will love this new version of you. They'll feel permission in your presence to stop pretending too. They'll see you choosing authenticity over approval and remember that they have that same choice available to them. These are the people who will walk into your new life with you, not because you convince them to, but because the frequency you're operating on naturally calls to the frequency they've been trying to access themselves. But others won't understand. They'll miss the version of you that was easier to predict, easier to control, easier to fit into the boxes they needed you to occupy. They might try to guilt you back into who you used to be. They might make your growth about their discomfort. They might even try to convince you that changing is selfish, that evolution is betrayal, that becoming who you really are somehow hurts them. And this is where you'll face your first real test in this new life. The temptation to shrink back down, to make yourself smaller again, just to keep the peace, to apologize for growing, for wanting more, for refusing to stay stuck in a version of yourself that expired long ago. This is where most people turn around, not because the new life isn't worth it, but because the old one keeps calling their name, promising that comfort is more valuable than truth. But you've come too far to go back now. You've tasted what it feels like to breathe fully, to move without resistance, to want without shame. You've felt the relief that comes from finally dropping the mask you didn't even know you were wearing. You've experienced the strange peace that settles over your life when you stop trying to be someone else and start being yourself. With intention and purpose and unapologetic clarity, this is your moment. Not to become someone new, but to finally stop hiding who you've always been. Not to fix what's broken, but to honor what's been whole all along. Not to escape your life, but to finally step into the one that's been waiting for you. To be brave enough to claim it. Enough to claim it. So here you are, at the edge of everything you've ever known, holding the keys to a life that's been waiting patiently for you to be ready. The door is right there. The handle is warm under your palm, and all that's left is the choice to finally, completely, irreversibly step through. Your old life isn't begging you to stay because it needs you. It's holding on because that's what familiar things do. They cling. But you were never meant to cling back. You were meant to grow, to expand, to become so authentically yourself that staying small stops being an option. The person you're leaving behind served their purpose beautifully. They kept you safe when safety was what you needed most. But now, safety is the cage, and authenticity is the key. And you've been holding that key all along, just waiting for the moment when keeping yourself locked up hurt more than the fear of flying free. This is that moment. This is your one last message before everything changes. Stop waiting for permission. Stop looking for guarantees. Stop asking if you're ready. Because ready is a luxury you can't afford when your soul is already 3 steps ahead of your fear. Turn the handle. Step through the door. Your new life is already there, waiting to meet you, exactly as you are, exactly as you've always been, underneath everything you thought you had to be. And once you cross that threshold, there's no going back to who you were, because why would you ever want to?